Hey everyone, welcome to another session of Yoga at Home with Julie. Thank you so much for being here today. Today's session, we are going to play with blocks. If you don't have any blocks, you can try to improvise, maybe with a couple big hardback books, but they have to be about the same size. Or if you don't have blocks and you'd like to get some, they're really easy to find online. Just look up yoga blocks. You can get them on Amazon or at most sporting goods outfitters. The blocks that I'm using are the Gaiam blocks. This is an American brand. I think they're available in the UK, but they might be slightly more expensive. So it doesn't really matter what brand you use, okay? And if you're at home and you already have a block but not two, that's okay. You should be fine to just get away with using one block through the session. You'll just have to modify a couple things. Okay, so for this session, playing with the blocks, we are going to be playing quite a bit with balancing. And one of the things that I find in my life is that, well, in my practice, is that when my life is out of balance in particular ways, I really struggle to physically balance in my yoga practice. And with the COVID-19 pandemic, it might be that many of us are out of balance right now. And so if in the practice you find that this is a bit of a struggle, it's okay. Just avoid judging whatever you find and see if you can just come back to play. So I'm going to assume that most people doing this video are already adults, but it's a bit like being a kid. We're playing with blocks. We're playing with blocks, we're playing in the body, and if you fall out of a balance, so what? Okay? So as ever, I just want to invite you to practice kindness to your body and a sense of compassion and playfulness. I am outside right now in a very beautiful place just outside of Salerno in Italy. I'll show you. So it's very nice. But occasionally you might hear some background noises because of this. So as ever, just see if you can allow things to be however they are. It's all just vibration. It's all just communing here on earth together right now. Okay, so we'll start as we always do with a centering and a breathing exercise, and then we'll move into some warm-ups, and then from there we will flow through some postures using the blocks. Okay, so for that centering and breathing, let's go to the mat. Well, you're probably already on the mat, but I'm not. Okay. So what I would like you to do is, you always have two options. You can either sit up nice and tall, or you can come down onto your back, whatever you prefer. Because we're using the blocks today, you might also even want to play with bringing the blocks underneath your body, underneath your sits bones. And then you can sit up nice and tall on the blocks. And this is lovely because this really elongates the spine. Okay? So once you find your centering position, let's take a few rolls of the shoulders. Inhale, roll the shoulders up. And exhale, wind them down and back. And again. And one more. And just relax the shoulders down. Relax the hands however they're comfortable, either facing up or down. And then once you're there, close the eyes. And take a few deep inhales through the nose, with exhales sighing or blowing the air out of the mouth. Just do this a few times. Inhaling calm, exhaling, sighing out, letting go of any stress or any tension. And once you sighed out a few times, just come back to the natural rhythm of your breath. Notice your breath. Notice where it lands in your body. And just notice what the breath can tell you about this moment in your body. Again, just avoid judging whatever you find. You're simply acknowledging things as exactly as they are right now. And take the awareness and just check in with your mind and notice the quality of your mind in this moment. Notice how busy or quiet it is. Notice how open or closed it is. And again, just avoid judging anything you notice. And check in with your heart, with the emotional center of your body. And just notice how you're feeling. Notice how your feelings energetically resonate. And again, rather than push anything away, just simply allow it to be. And take the awareness and bring it through your body. And just notice where you're feeling what. Where is the body open and relaxed? Where is the body holding tension or strain or even injury? And notice how your mind, your feelings, and your body interact together. Often we might feel stress in our necks, in the shoulders. We might feel our sadness, our pain as something physical. Likewise, if we're feeling joyful, we might feel very open physically. The breath might be quite deep. So just check in. How are these interactions playing out in your body today between not only the mind, the feelings, and the physical body, but also with the breath? And just as a reminder, yoga is about this idea of union. It actually comes from a word in Sanskrit, to yoke, so to unify. So that's why we engage with all these different practices within our sessions. We engage with the breath, we engage with the mind, we engage with the body, because they all play off of each other. So just take another moment, check in, what's happening for you right now. And whatever you find, it's okay. There's no need to judge it or label it. It just is. And then from here, take the awareness and bring it back to your breath and start to deepen the breath. Inhale through the nose, take the breath down into the belly so that the belly rises with the inhale. Exhale out the nose and feel the belly roll back toward the spine. So inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. And then deepen the breath further. Inhale through the nose, fill up belly, ribs, chest, expanding all the way up through the inhale. Exhale out the nose, chest, ribs, and belly contract. So many of you will know that this is your Dirga breath. You can either stay with this or come into your Ujjayi or your ocean wave sounding breath by constricting in the back of the throat in the epiglottis as you breathe, like you're inhaling and exhaling the word home through the nose to create that audible wave sound. And for anyone unfamiliar with this breath, there is a tutorial video also on this YouTube playlist that can teach you how to do that. Okay, let's take between 5 and 10 rounds of deep breath here now. And as you breathe, just allow your face to soften. Let the hands relax. And with every inhale, just visualize this calm energy moving into your body and all the way through your body, out through your arms, your legs, your fingers, your toes, even up through your crown. And with every exhale, just visualize releasing some of the tension stored, whether physical or energetic. Okay. Start to mentally ready yourself for movement now. And just bring some movement back into your body, however feels good to you. Just letting yourself stretch, roll around, yawn, sigh. Okay. Now, from here, I want you to just take the next minute to bring yourself up to standing, but take your time coming up. Be playful, be expressive, be creative. Maybe you can find a new way to come up. Maybe you come up with your eyes closed. Just, again, have a play. So don't worry about When you come all the way up to standing, I'd like you now to take your 2 blocks and bring them up toward the top of your mat. And you're just going to bring them to the vertical position at about a shoulder distance stance. And then we're just going to leave them there. And if you just have a single block, that's fine. Put it on one side. Okay. So from here, bring your feet to a slightly wider than hip distance stance. And then take an inhale, roll the shoulders up. And exhale them down and back again. And again. And one more. And then just release the shoulders down and interlace the fingers behind your back. Draw down through the arms so you're squeezing the shoulders around the spine there. Okay? And then put a little bend in your knees. Inhale. Exhale, hinge forward from your hips and just let those interlaced fingers hang back and away from your lower back, just starting to open up through the shoulders here. And simply breathe. Okay, draw your hands back down towards your lower back. Unwind the fingers, and then reverse the swan dive all the way up to the sky. And exhale, release the arms all the way down. Okay, now feet still wider than hip distance. We're going to come into our Hara twist. For those of you unfamiliar with the Hara breath, it can feel a bit silly the first few times that you do it, but just go with that feeling. So what we're going to do is we're going to inhale through the nose, and then we exhale ha, coming from the center of the core here. So it's, again, inhale through the nose, ha, okay? Now we add movement into that. So arms are nice and loose, nice and floppy. We're going to inhale through the nose, and then we exhale, ha, 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 ha. Keep it going, ha, ha. I want you to take really deep breaths, ha, ha, ha. So you're getting this influx of oxygen into the nose, ha, 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 ha. A few more, ha, 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 ha. And then start to slow it down, ha, 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 ha. And gradually start to swing it all the way back through the center. Okay, once you have come all the way back through center, just take your hands, bring them out in front of you, and we're just going to do a brief wrist warm-up here. So what I would like you to do here is I would like you to take the backs of the hands together, and then roll the fingers in toward the chest and then up toward the sky. So you're just rolling the wrists around and around each other, and you might get a little clicking, a little cracking there. That's totally normal. And go the other way. Okay. And then once you next come through prayer, inhale, take your arms all the way out to a T. And from here, I want you to exhale, draw your palms back together in front of you. And again, we inhale, take the arms wide. This time, lift your chest up toward the sky, slight arch at the back, just receiving this moment. Exhale, take the palms back together out in front of you. Inhale, take the arms wide in a diagonal, arching through the spine. Exhale together. Inhale the other way. exhale together. Inhale, dive wide. Exhale together. Inhale, take the arms arching, again at a diagonal. Exhale together. Inhale the other way. Exhale together. And one more set of 3. Move with your breath. All right. And then just simply release the arms all the way down. Step up toward the top of your mat now. And just double check your blocks that they're at about a shoulder distance stance out in front of you. And then once you have that organized, bring your feet back to about a hip distance stance. And I want you to try to find a standing variation of a tabletop. So when you're on hands and knees, that's a tabletop. So this is just a standing version of it. All right, now, once you have found that, again, feet hip distance stance, slight gap between the feet, I want you to inhale, start to bend your knees, roll the shoulders back, and arch, lifting your bum. Some people find that they can't really do this without lifting the heels. If that's the case for you, it's okay. Let the heels lift, otherwise keep them down. And then as you exhale, I want you to straighten out the legs, tuck the chin in toward your chest, and round all the way up. So you're rounding up into a standing variation of a cat. Inhale, bend your knees, roll your shoulders back, open up through the chest. So this is like a cow, or I feel like this is a bunny getting ready to hop. Exhale, tuck the chin in toward your chest and round back. One more. Inhale, bend your knees, roll the shoulders back, open through the chest. And exhale, round. Inhale, bring it now so that you are coming into that neutral position, that standing tabletop variation. And then I would like you to start to shift your weight a little bit, foot to foot, leg to leg. So just shifting the weight, we're not picking up the feet, just shifting, shifting, shifting. And then shift your weight into your right foot and do the best you can to really push the weight all the way through that foot, into the ball, the side, the heel of the foot. And then take your left leg and I want you to send it back behind you. If you have a single block, make sure that it is on the left side here. Now, square that left hip to the floor. It's very easy to try to open that hip out to the side, but again, try to keep the hip square to the floor, and you can flex your feet, try to keep the toes pointed toward the floor rather than out to the side, okay? Now, pull up through your core, take your right hand out in front of you. That right knee might bend a little bit here, and that's okay, okay? Now, we inhale here, standing sunbird. And then exhale, bend the elbow, bend the knee, bring them together under the body, a bit like you're going, yes. I always think of Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, right? Inhale, extend all the way back out. Exhale, bend the elbow, bend the knee, draw them together under the body. 3 more. Okay, last one. Take it all the way out. Now, I want you to bend that standing leg so that the knee is coming toward the second toe. You're really going to feel this in your quad. Whew. Okay, straighten that leg out and then take your right arm, bring it toward the side of your body. So it's a bit like you're starting to wear a cape there with that right arm. Then pull up through your core, take the left hand off the block and hold. If you want to take this further, take your arms out to a T or all the way out in front of you into superhero. And then draw the arms back and see if you can just come right up to standing. So just let that leg come down, upper body tips up in one single movement. Whew, okay, feet hip distance stands. We take 3 cleansing breaths. Inhale, lift the arms. And exhale. And again. And one more. And then inhale, lift all the way up. And then once you come up, I want you to keep your feet at hip distance. So not wider than hip distance, but at hip distance now. Interlace your fingers, but point your index fingers and your thumbs. So it's a bit like Charlie's Angels, okay? And then we are going to inhale, lift all the way up. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then exhale from the waist to the right. So just from the waist, I want you to lift out and over. Inhale back through center. And exhale over to the other side. Inhale up through center. Exhale right. And then this time maybe shift out through your left hip, taking that half moon, Ardha Chandrasana, that little bit further. Inhale, tall lift through center. And exhale again over to the other side, starting with the waist and then maybe shifting out through that right hip. Okay, inhale, lift all the way back up through center. And then unwind your arms and start to walk back up toward your blocks. And again, place your hands on the blocks, feet coming to a hip distance stance behind you. Okay, shift the weight a little bit, foot to foot. So we find that standing tabletop to start. And then this time we shift the weight into the left foot. Take your right leg up and back behind you, squaring that right hip toward the floor. Ready? Take the left arm out in front of you. If you have a single block, obviously it's on the right side this time. And just to say, it's opposite arm and leg, okay? I've seen it so many times in classes where people have the right arm and the right leg extended, which is very impressive, but make sure it's opposite because this is also what's going to really help your back the most, okay? All right. Inhale here, left arm extended, right leg extended. Right hip squared to the floor. Exhale, bend the elbow, bend the knee. Draw them together under the body. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend. 3 more with your breath. Okay, take it all the way back out, and I want you to really hold this here. And then bend that left leg a little further, knee pointing toward the second toe. Really reach that right leg up and back, left arm forward. This is where we strengthen and work the lower back. Strengthen and stretch both. Okay, whew. Start to straighten out that left leg. Take the left arm back, lift through your right arm and come up into that figure skater balance. You can play with taking the arms to a T or all the way out in front of you into superhero. Now when you're ready, tip it all the way back up straight up into standing. Okay. We take 3 cleansing breaths. Inhale, lift the arms. And exhale. And again. And one more. Inhale, lift all the way up. And then exhale, release. Now, we're just going to take one forward fold, but using a single block. So from here, just go ahead and bring a block toward the middle in front of your feet. Okay, and then, and you don't have to face sideways. I'm just obviously facing sideways because of the camera angles. So we're going to inhale, lift up here. And then exhale, swan dive, hinge forward from the hips, but I want you to come halfway down. So bring your chest parallel to the ground. Try to shift the weight into the middle of your feet. And then just like you did before, maybe play with that superhero, taking the arms all the way out in front of you. You should feel this through the back of the legs and into the back. Okay, exhale, hinge forward from the hips and take your hands onto that block. Now, once you're there, legs are straight, hang the head, and you're just hinging the upper body forward from the hips. And then, if you want, you can play with it. You can turn that block onto the horizontal, hinging forward there. You can turn it onto the thick end, hinging forward there. Or if you don't need a block and your hands can naturally come to the floor, just go ahead and scoot it out to the side and hang down here. Take another couple deep breaths here in Uttanasana in a standing forward fold, stretching from the back of the heels all the way to the back of the neck. Okay. Bend your knees and slowly ragdoll your body all the way up. Once you come up, take a moment just to sigh out. Now, I want you to just take the blocks back out to that shoulder distance stance on the ground. And I'm actually just going to show you this next movement that we are going to do. So just take a moment to look at your screen. From here, what you're going to do is you are going to take your right block and bring it slightly forward compared to the other, okay? And then you're going to shift your weight into that right foot, and then you're going to pick up your left leg, and your left hip this time is going to open up toward the sky. Now, if that's enough, you can stay here. But otherwise, I want you to play with the idea of taking that left arm all the way up to the sky and lifting up, and your left toes are pointing toward the screen here. Okay, now one last thing to say there. That right foot, at the moment when we start, the toes are pointing forward. For some people, that right foot is going to try to make a run for it toward the side of your mat. So that instead of having the toes pointing forward, it's going to look more like this. My body also naturally tries to do that. In both instances, they are aligned. So if you think about what it looks like, if you were here, with the toe pointing to the side, it just looks like this. Now, with the toe pointing forward, it just looks like this. So it's like a triangle pose versus the start of a wide angle fold. In certain yoga communities, they will tell you different things about alignment. I want you to use
your own body's natural intelligence, because sometimes yoga traditions can become a bit dogmatic, and I want you to listen to your body rather than get injured. The one thing I will say is try to avoid an in-between state. So you either want the toes pointing straight forward or straight to the side of your mat. You don't want it something in between, like pointing toward 10 o'clock, okay? All right, let's do this. So from here, we're going to come into that, and then we're going to add a few things on, but hopefully we can just do that together on the video. So we have the feet at a hip distance stance, and we take that right block and we bring it slightly forward so that we can lean up into that block. Shift the weight into your right foot, and then I want you to pick up that left leg and then open the hip up toward the sky, like there's a puppet string from your left hip to the ceiling. And then pull up through your core. If already your right toes are making a run for it, you can turn it out to the side and then lift that left arm all the way up to the sky. And we're really lifting here. We're not collapsing down into the leg. Leg is straight. We're not collapsing down into the arm. Arm is straight. Find the position that's right for you. If the arm feels too far away or too close, adjust. Now, if this is enough, stay here. If you want to play with taking it a little further, I want you to bend your left knee, take hold of your left foot, and then you're going to lift up and back. So we're opening the chest, opening the shoulder, opening the quadricep. Should feel like a nice stretch. Just to say, if you can get hold of the foot, but you just end up with the knee bent doing some awkward 80s dance, skip it. Take it here, okay? And then take another breath in whichever you're doing. And then take that leg back out if you're holding on to it. Now, very mindfully, if your right toes are turned out to the side, I want you to turn them forward again, and then you're going to take that left hand down. I'm going to push you a little bit here. I know that right leg is hurting. It's okay. It's temporary. Now, turn the blocks down onto the horizontal, okay, if you can. If you can't, don't worry. And then swing that left leg all the way up into the sky, head coming toward your knee. If you want, and you can take your hands to the floor, just go ahead and do so. So we're taking a standing split here. Okay, and then walk yourself back up onto your fingertips or onto the blocks, and then just push yourself all the way back up to standing. And then we take a few cleansing breaths. Again, we inhale, and one more. Okay, here we go. We release the arms down and set the blocks back up. So just start with that shoulder distance stance, feet hip distance. If you want to sigh at all anymore, let yourself just sigh. You don't even need the invitation. Okay. Take your left block slightly out in front of the right, still on the left side. Shift your weight into your left foot. Now, start to pick your right leg up behind you, and then you're turning and opening that hip, okay? Now, pull up through your core, lift the right arm up, and if you, again, if that left foot makes a run for it, either point the toes all the way to the side or keep them pointing forward. And then start to bend that leg up in the air. Take hold of it and lift it up and back. Take it all the way back out into your balancing moon here. And then you're going to release. Make sure those left toes are pointing forward. And then either turn the blocks down, or if you don't need the blocks, take your hands to the floor. Lift that right leg up, head coming towards your left knee. Standing split. Okay, and then start to lift up through the head, through the heart. Bring that right leg parallel to the ground. And again, push yourself all the way up to standing. We take a few deep breaths. Inhale, lift. Okay, inhale, lift. And exhale. Gently release the arms all the way down. And again, find a single block. Just bring it out in front of your feet. And take one big inhale up. And exhale, swan dive. This time come straight down onto the block with your hands. Hang the head, hang the arms. And then turn the block down if you would like to turn it down on one of the other levels, or just take your hands all the way to the earth. Bend your knees. Take your right hand either to the floor at the center or to the block. And again, it can be either on the thick end, the horizontal, or the vertical. And then inhale, lift your left arm up to the sky. And then just straighten that left leg out ever so slightly. So you're getting that nice stretch on there. And bend the left leg. Take that left hand down and both knees bent. We swap into that twist. And then straighten that right leg out a little bit. Okay, release, hang the head, hang the arms, and okay. From here, what I would like you to do is I would like you to take one block in your hand, and then I want you to bring your legs together as best you can, and I'm just bringing the block behind me so you can see. You don't have to put the block behind your back. From there, what we are going to do is we are going to bend forward, lifting through the heels, and then we turn the knees out to the sides so that the balls of the feet and the heels come together. So I'll just show you that one more time. So what we do here is knees together, feet together, and then we lean forward and then knees go wide. So we have, again, the heels and the balls of the feet together. Now, we can use you can even use both blocks, I suppose. You can use one or both blocks here to start finding that balance. I want you to pull up through your core and then try to take your hands onto your legs. This is a tricky balance, so just do the best that you can with it. And then if you want to take it further, take the arms all the way up, interlace your fingers, lift up through your knuckles. And just with your torso, turn toward the left. Inhale through center. And exhale right. Inhale, center. Exhale, release. Take the hands back to the blocks. Gently take your knees down. Okay, now let's just take a brief child's pose. You can take the blocks out of the way and send your bottom toward your heels, belly over between the thighs, forehead down. Side out. Okay. Lift the head, lift the heart. We're just going to do one thing here with the blocks to help stretch the backs of the legs because the legs have been working pretty hard in this session. So what I would like you to do, nothing fancy. You're just going to grab your blocks and then take your right leg, bring it out in front of you between the blocks. So we've got the right knee in line with the ankle, and then the blocks are either side, and take it high up onto the vertical. Now, from here, let's just take one strengthener before we go into that deep stretch. So curl your left toes under and take that left leg back so that you can come into a high runner's lunge. And then from there, we're going to really roll the shoulders back, open up through the chest, send that left hip flexor like it's just going straight into the floor. Squeeze under your armpits, never collapsing down into this, but really pushing up, lifting up. Okay, take your left leg down, uncurl the toes, and then start to walk the blocks back. And I want you now to flex. You're straightening out that right leg and then flex that foot so that the heel is pushing into the ground and the toes are lifting up. We're up high on the blocks, so they're on the vertical. Square your hips forward and then roll your shoulders back. See if you can come up even all the way up for a moment, or just up onto your fingertips here. Okay, so we're squared forward through the shoulders, through the chest. And we take an inhale, and then exhale with a nice long spine. Start to take it down, and maybe if you can, turn the blocks down a level or two, or you might be able to take your hands all the way to the floor. Inhale, elongate your spine, and then exhale, take the chin toward the shin or the head toward the knee. Breathe into that stretch. You should really be feeling that in the hamstrings, at the back of the upper leg. Okay, lift the head, lift the heart, and then find your blocks again. Okay, and take that right leg back, and super simple, left foot just coming forward. And we bend the left knee in line with the ankle. Point the knee toward the second toe. Curl your right toes under behind you and wiggle it out into that lunge. So now that right hip pressing toward the floor, shoulders back, chest open. Exhale, take the knee down and then walk the blocks back and we flex that left foot, we square forward. Take an inhale here. Come up, elongating the spine as best you can. And then with that nice long spine, start to hinge forward, maybe turning the blocks down or taking the hands to the floor if it's available to you. And then round, taking the chin toward the shin or the head toward the knee. Okay, lift the head, lift the heart. and walk back up onto the blocks, and then take that left leg back. Now, we're going to start to bring it down. We're going to take one restorative yoga pose using the blocks now. So what I would like you to do is nothing fancy, just swing the legs out in front of you. Have the blocks at one side so that you can easily reach them. And then bring yourself all the way down onto your back. Once you come down onto your back, take a moment just to sigh out. And just sigh out a few times here. Okay. Now, we are going to come into a restorative bridge pose. So the first thing I would like you to do is set up your bridge pose as you usually would. So we're going to walk the heels up toward the bottom as close as is comfortable. And we square the toes forward. Feet are at hip distance, so they're not together, but with a gap. Okay. And then we relax the shoulders. Okay. So we're just going to do our usual bridge warm up here just to give the back a little extra love before we come into this pose. So imagine that you have puppet strings between your wrists and your hips. And you're going to push through your feet. Inhale, lift the hips, lift the pelvis, lift the arms. And then exhale, take the arms and the back all the way down. And again. And take 3 more at the pace of your breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. 2 more. Okay. Take it all the way down. And now we're going to use the blocks here, or again, if you have a single block, that's okay. So what I would like you to do is to take one block and on the lowest end, on the thickest end, you're going to lift your hips, lift your pelvis, and you bring that block underneath the sacrum. So it's perpendicular rather than parallel. So you don't want the block riding up your spine. It will be super uncomfortable. You want the block as if it's forming a T with your spine, okay? And place that block on the sacrum. If you have it too high, your bum's gonna fall off. If you have it too low, you're going to feel like you're sort of pushing up into your throat and into your shoulders. So you have to get it just right, so like Goldilocks, okay? Now, if you'd like, play with taking this a little further by lifting your heels and pushing through the balls of your feet. Lift up and take the second block and bring that on top of the first. Okay? And then let the heels come down. If this is not enough, you can play with turning the top block onto the horizontal, or you could even play with taking it onto the vertical. I've only ever seen my friend Emma do that because she's super bendy. But if you're super bendy like Emma, you might want to do that too, turning the top block vertical. This being said, if you have one block or if 2 is already too many, you can also turn that bottom block onto the horizontal or onto the vertical. If you turn it onto the vertical, it's a little wobbly, but it should be okay. Just make sure you feel secure with it. Okay. Now, again, let the heels rest. And just close your eyes.
And sigh out a few times. And once you've sighed out, just return to some deep breathing. And we'll take about 5 rounds of deep breath here. Okay. From here, we're actually going to take it up with the legs, but if you have the block or blocks, any of them turned onto the horizontal or the vertical, I want you to make sure that they're flat down on the thick end. You can use 2 blocks, but both on the thick end, or you can use a singular block on the thick end. Now, I find I like to slide the blocks up a little bit closer to my mid-back and then take the legs up there. Some of you will find that using 2 blocks is too many here, so that's okay. If 2 is too many, take the top block out and just stay with the bottom one. Find what feels right to you. You might have to play a little bit with finding the right placement. Okay. So what we're doing now is we're coming into a restorative half shoulder stand. And then we're just going to stretch the legs a little bit while we're here. So take your arms out to a T now. And then I want you to crisscross your legs once in each direction. And then inhale, take your legs wide to a horizontal box split. So it's a gravity assisted box split. Exhale, take the legs back, crisscross, crisscross. Inhale, box split. Take one more. And then this time when you take it out to that box split, I want you to hold. Sometimes it can feel nice just to place the hands on the inner thigh there to help hold the position, to hold the stretch. Breathe into that stretch. Whew, and then take the legs all the way back up. From here, bend your knees. Take one foot and then the other touching down. Lift up, pushing through the balls of your feet, and then unwind the blocks from underneath your body. Place them out to the side, thanking your blocks. They have helped you in the practice today, and now they get to chill. Okay, take the knees in toward your chest, hug your legs. Sigh out. And again. Okay. Take your feet now and bring them to a hip distance stance. And then take your arms back out to a T. Cross your right leg over your left. Turn your face right. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, I want you to roll into your left hip, letting those crossed legs come down toward the right side. And just breathe into that sacral twist, a twist for the lower back. And then roll it back through center. Take your right foot down, cross left over right. Turn your face left, inhale. Exhale, roll into, that right hip. And then inhale, roll back through center, unwind your legs. Take the arms to the sides of your body, just let them get comfortable. And either keep your knees bent if that feels better to your lower back, or just extend the legs out now, letting them flop and splay. Really, again, just relax the shoulders. And take a few last deep inhales through the nose, with exhales sighing or blowing the air out of the mouth. And once you've sighed out a few times, just let your natural breath take over. Close your eyes if they're not yet closed. And just feel the back of your head weighing down. Feel the backs of your shoulders also relaxing down. Feel your arms and your legs melt down. Just being completely supported by the earth below you. And as you relax here, without any judgment, just intuitively ask yourself the question, if there are places that your life is out of balance. And again, without judgment, just notice if any intuitive responses come to you. And if anything came to you, if it resonates for you, set the intention to positively bring more balance back into this area of your life. And it doesn't have to be, quote, solving whatever you think a problem might be. It can just be one piece of the puzzle. So, for example, if in the quarantine, if in the lockdown, you found yourself drinking alcohol more, I've heard from some people that this seemed to be something that was happening. This is normal. I think in stress, we all respond differently. So if that's the case, maybe your positive affirmation can be, I'm going to drink more water. Or I'm going to enjoy one glass of wine with my dinner. It's whatever works and resonates for you. If you feel like physically you've become a bit out of balance recently, it might even be, I am going to smile at myself in the mirror. I am going to smile at myself in the mirror. I thank my body for being here. So again, find what resonates for you, what comes intuitively to you. And then set that intention in your heart, in your mind, in your awareness, lovingly and kindly. And draw some movement back into your fingers and your toes. Gently roll to one side toward a fetal position. And then bring yourself all the way back up to seated. Take your hands into prayer in front of the heart. Gently bow, honoring your body, your light, your practice on this earth. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. I hope you have a beautiful day or evening, wherever you are, whenever you are watching this. Namaste.